Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and welcome to our penultimate press conference on the pledges. Thus far, we have held three. This is the fourth. And with me this morning are my far right, our endorsed candidate for the Dennery South constituency, Jerome Gideon, also known as Pharaoh. To his left, the indomitable Member of Parliament for Soufrière Fort Saint-Jacques and the Minister of Social Transformation seeking his third term in office, consecutive term, the Honorable Harold Dallison. And immediately to my right, the champion of the Valley, the sports minister who has transformed everything sporting and youth-wise in this country. The young man himself, he likes to remind us. The Member of Parliament for Dennery North, who is well on his way to securing not just an historic victory, but won by historic proportions, the Honorable Sean Edwards. Today, we are going to be speaking the pledges for the dam for the Trumassie River. That will be done by Jerome. Harold Dallison will be speaking of our pledge on developing the ICT sector to create new business opportunities. And in fact, you can see how revolutionary this government has been with all of the ICT centers we have opened throughout the country, even in constituencies that are not held by the Labour Party. And the Honorable Sean Edward will be speaking on the transition to renewable energy. So without any further ado, I would ask Jerome to take to the podium to present our pledge on the dam for the Trumassie River. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, good morning again, ladies and gentlemen of the press. As I present on the pledge that deals with the Trumassie River, we will begin planning for a new dam on the Trumassie River. When our party took office in December 2011, we found the water sector in desperate need of attention and the water and sewage company Wasco on the brink of bankruptcy. Every month, Lucelec was threatening to disconnect Wasco because it was unable to pay its electricity bills. The national water systems, which has been badly damaged by Hurricane Thomas, had received absolutely no attention from the UWP administration. The John Compton Dam was heavily silted and no plans had been made by the previous government for the desilting of this dam. All over St. Lucia, residents were complaining about the inadequacy of the water supply, and this was particularly the case in the Dennery Valley and Vieux Fort. Our government immediately set out to address these many problems in the water sector. Unlike the previous government that had clearly ignored the sector and turned a deaf ear to the cries of St. Lucians, we understood that water is life indeed. And if we could not assure the people of St. Lucia a reliable and safe water supply, we were compromising the quality of life they enjoyed. We fixed Wasco. We saved it from bankruptcy. Our government cleared most of Wasco's debt and put it on a firm financial footing. This allowed Wasco to not only meet its monthly bills, but also to start paying down on its large arrears to Lucelec. We then undertook a comprehensive study as a first phase of desilting the dam. With the help of the Caribbean Development Bank, we were able to secure the funds for the desilting of the dam and soon we will award the contract to this massive and very important project. We addressed water supply problems in many areas like Dennery Village, Babono, Kazaba, and Vieux Fort. For the first time in many years, we provided a 24-hour supply of water to the residents of the city of Castries. Most importantly, with the help of the Mexican government and the Caribbean Development Bank, we secured $24 million for the redevelopment of the water supply and distribution system for the Dennery Valley and over $65 million for a new water supply and distribution system for Vieux Fort. However, we realized that although the new Vieux Fort water supply and distribution system will meet the needs of Vieux Fort and the environs until 2033, there is need for a more long-lasting solution to the water supply problems in the south. This can be solved only with a new reservoir to serve Vieux Fort and the southern villages and communities. Therefore, in our next term of office, we will commence preliminary studies on the construction of a reservoir and dam in the Chumase River, which will assure that from Miko on the east coast to Labri on the west coast, we'll have a sufficient water supply of potable water for decades to come. For us in the St. Lucia Labour Party, there is no problem that is too big to be fixed. And our work in the water sector is another example of our commitment to improving the quality of life of all St. Lucians. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. I am going to present Good. Okay, I'm here to present on the pledge. We will develop the renewable energy, information technology, and services sector to ensure that St. Lucia has a vibrant, robust, and resilient economy. Since coming into office 4.5 years ago, the St. Lucia Labour Party government has worked diligently to create new avenues of economic opportunity for St. Lucians, particularly our youth. Nowhere has there been more apparent than the work we have done in the area of information and communications technology, or what we often call ICT. When this Labour government took office in December of 2011, there was a large digital divide in our country. Countries on the West Coast, like Canaries, Ancillary, and Soufrière, had the unfortunate distinction of being the least connected to the internet, with the fewest computers per household. But it was not just on the West Coast that we had low connectivity. Communities like Dennery, parts of Babono, Grosile, and several other areas were not benefiting from access to this new digital world. We immediately set out to change this. We established modern, fully equipped information technology access centers in Soufrière, in Canaries, in Ancillary, in Vieux Fort, in Gara, in Monchy. And this week, we will be opening another center in the village of Miku. My own constituency of Soufrière, in addition to being the first to get ICT Access Center, also became the first town or community in St. Lucia to get free Wi-Fi. These centers have provided a place where our youth can go for training, do research, develop their business plans, and take the first steps to becoming digital entrepreneurs. But we did not stop there. We realized that we needed to provide training to our young people so that they could acquire new information technology skills. So we set up a program called CASIP, which has provided grant funds and other funding that does not have to be repaid for the young people in technology-related areas. So far, over $1 million in training grants have been disbursed, and 447 young St. Lucians have received training. We anticipate that by the time this project is completed, as many as 1,500 trainees will be certified with new information technology skills. Our government has also made it possible for businesses to establish themselves in the information technology field or expand their services using technology. So far, 15 firms have received grant financing. Again, funding that does not have to be repaid, amounting to $779,320.20. And these funds were used to expand their operations. When this phase of the project is finished, $1 million worth of grant funding would have been disbursed to 20 local companies run by enterprising St. Lucians. This initiative will continue in our next term of office. We will use the ICT access centers around the island to provide free training to young people who are looking to enhance their skills and become more marketable in this knowledge-based environment. We will provide training in areas such as mobile app development, digital photography and videography, website development, the use of Photoshop and other digital editing software, and social marketing. We are confident that our young people can be digital entrepreneurs to match the best of what the world has to offer. And we are well on our way to providing them with this opportunity, the access, the training, and the opportunities to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me say pleasant morning to Chairman of the St. Lucia Labour Party and President of the Senate, the Honorable Claudius Francis, Cabinet colleague Harold Alson, colleague candidate Jerome Gideon. Special morning to members of the media. Today I will be presenting on the transition to renewable energy. Our Labour government understands the importance of the energy sector to our sustainable economic development. Almost every productive sector depends on electricity for the product or service it offers to its clients. Therefore, any reduction in the price of electricity or an end to the volatility of electricity cost due to the fluctuating price of oil on the global market will work to the benefit of the tourism sector, the manufacturing sector, and the agriculture value-added sector, to name a few. This is why we have moved so aggressively to reform and transform the energy sector in our country. In the short space of 4.5 years, international organizations such as the World Bank, the US State Department, and the OAS are praising St. Lucia's approach to energy sector transformation as a best practice for small island developing states. We have systematically embarked on a modernization of the electricity legislation, undertaken major energy efficiency initiatives like the replacement of all street lamps on the island with energy efficient LED lights, installed solar panels on government buildings,
and sought to attract investment in renewable energy generation. It is in this latter area that we have seen perhaps the most impressive progress. Plans are well on the way for the construction of a 12-megawatt wind farm in the vicinity of the Bodley Correctional Facility. This is a major joint venture with a US-based company, and when it is fully commissioned, this wind farm will generate 20% of our current peak demand for electricity and supply enough electricity to power 19,475 homes and reduce the amount of diesel Lucilec consumes by 10%. Almost simultaneously, we are pursuing the development of a 3.2 megawatt utility-scale solar plant in Vieux-Fort South. This modern solar generation facility will be built by Lucilec, and already 35 companies from the US, Canada, Europe, Latin America, and the Caribbean have expressed an interest in developing this facility. This solar farm, which is expected to be the first of other such farms, will supply 5% of our current peak demand for electricity. However, the project that holds the greatest potential to radically transform our energy sector and reduce the price of electricity is the development of our geothermal potential. We have restarted exploration and recently completed the geotechnical studies. Our geothermal development is being done in partnership with the World Bank, the New Zealand government, and one of the most reputable and successful geothermal development companies in the world. The results so far have been extremely encouraging. They indicate a potential resource of over 60 megawatts, which is the current peak demand for electricity in St. Lucia. What is even more encouraging is that this resource is located outside of the Peto Management Area, the PMA, which means we will not impact our UNESCO World Heritage status, which a Labour Party government secured for St. Lucia, and we had to fight so hard to keep from being danger listed because of the reckless and irresponsible behavior of the UWP government. When you consider the impact of these initiatives, together with our continued work to install more rooftop solar panels on government buildings, you will realize that our projection of 75% renewables by the year 2035 is actually a conservative one. Our Labour government is extremely confident that we are well on the way to making St. Lucia 100% renewable in the generation of electricity in the not too distant future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to pose any question you may have.
What guarantees or what measures have been put in place to ensure that those geothermal development plans don't have any impact, any environmental impact?
Yes, thanks for the question, Sarah. As I would have indicated in my presentation, we are not in this alone. We do not have the expertise in St. Lucia to go about our exploring the geothermal potential on our own. And that is why we've partnered not just private companies from other jurisdictions, but we are actually working with governments that have the expertise. So it's really a multi-pronged approach with a lot of consultation. And as I indicated, if there's one thing that we are going to ensure is that we are going to have safeguards in place as it relates to the environment. And I gave by way of example the Peto Management Area, given the economic benefits that can be derived for job creation and the overall economic development of our country.
May I just add, since it is my constituency, well, it was thought so. I have attended several consultations with the persons who were directly involved in the process at this point in time. And then they have given the assurance, it's actually a firm from Switzerland, they have given the assurance that as they move forward, that they are doing all of the necessary assessments, environmental impact assessment, assessment on the ecosystems, wherever they are going to develop. So it is not a matter of probably what happened in the past, where companies would come in with a rig and begin to drill. A lot of preliminary works. From January, they have been underground, and they are making assessments. They have combed the entire area outside of the PMA area and have extended all the way to Vieux Fort North. And the last I was told from one of the consultants is that Soufrière may not even be the point from which they're going to try to extract the geothermal steam, but rather all the way in Vieux Fort North.
Yeah, question to the ICT Center. What is
Centers.
What is in place to ensure that the youth will actually patronize those centers for them to actually gain employment after they have done all their training? What is in place to ensure that they actually have employment rather than just being educated citizens with no employment?
Well, perhaps you were not at the earlier pledges, because our very first pledge last week dealt with the creation of employment. I can't recall all of it now, but I can certainly make the document available to you before you leave it. But that was dealt with in the first pledge.
Yeah, but those highlighted by Minister Pierre, I believe it was basically construction, right? More or less.
No. He was saying that the economic development will be spurred in large measure by the construction industry, by the tourism industry. That will itself create the spin-off. Honorable Moussa Jabati spoke about the secondary use of the products, not simply, so we have cocoa, we don't just export the cocoa, we get things out of the cocoa, the bananas, so that's what he's talking about.
Moreover, those ICTs must be seen as vehicles, as avenues for giving the young people the skills and talent to be competitive in the employment market. So in Soufrière, there is we have an access center. Young people would go in there on afternoons, and they would go online and they would go internet. They would search for jobs. They would develop their skills, and by so doing, they become more proficient in the use of computer. Some of them, I know a young guy who is actually trying to develop an app with the help of the coordinator. So these are the opportunities these centers can create. But the other thing is that most of these centers, they have extended Wi-Fi for the immediate vicinity, so that people can actually stay at their home and become more ICT, more literate.
So for
and
example,
that is critical in your job resume, that you are computer literate, you are internet savvy, and then you have the proficiency to handle whatever demands the business who might employ you may make of you.
Sean?
Yes, just to add to something he said, which is not directly related to the question that you asked. Yours was more looking at the employment potential. But he was making the point that quite apart from the computers that are at the center, where the students can come in and interface with the coordinator and the machines themselves, one thing that is an added feature at those centers is the free Wi-Fi that is available to homes and residents within a certain geographic confine. And I think that is very critical, because I've made the point before that we are, and you cannot look at any one aspect of it in isolation. We give the laptops to the students in the secondary schools, then you have the center which provides the internet, so that children can stay home. Instead of having to go and line up the street corners next to businesses, homes, churches to tap into Wi-Fi. But they can stay within the confines of their homes, in the comfort of their homes, have internet access, and be able to do their work. And it's all part and parcel of the overall training and building up the human capacity of our youth. We are in a global environment. You cannot prepare your youngsters only for work in St. Lucia. A lot of skills sometimes have to be exported. People have to go out of St. Lucia to work, and then they send money back. We know that remittances contribute very significantly to GDP right now. So you cannot just be looking at things within the confines of St. Lucia, but you have to go one step further. And that is the main reason why the government has aggressively pursued that particular ICT agenda, to make our youngsters competitive on a global level. Because your ability to use IT now is really a universal language. So that when you leave here and you land at JFK, there's nobody to help you. You have to go to the kiosk, you have to check yourself in, and this is where it starts. And we're saying that notwithstanding we're small in terms of the geographic size and the demographics of our country, but we have shown the world before that we can do better than the rest of the world, whatever we set our minds to. And the example I always use to students when I taught, and even when I speak to gatherings of young people, Saf always did it. So, the Honorable Derek Walker did it. Darren Sammy has done it. Levin Spencer is doing it. So we have to get our young persons to believe, and I believe in themselves, and I believe the ICT sector is one such area where we have an opportunity to appeal to all young persons, equip them with skills so that they can basically enhance themselves.
Funding for the Chumasi Dam. What is the funding from for this project?
Yeah.
The Chumasi Dam.
The Chumasi Dam. Where's the funding coming from?
Funding is the Caribbean Development Bank. Caribbean Development Bank. The government of St. Lucia has secured $65 million through the Caribbean Development Bank for the development of the Chumasi Dam.
And what challenges do you foresee with this project and the potential time frame?
Challenges such as
Geographical challenges, infrastructure challenges.
well, these challenges will be relative
The feasibility study.
You're going to have agreed the funds unless that have been done. In terms of the time frame, I'm not sure. Do you have time frame?
You know, it's not stated
Yeah, but
the
it's,
time frame.
I would think
Yeah.
a minimum of 2 years, because when one considers
Yeah, about the feasibility
erosion
study.
dam,
Yeah.
because that dam is going to secure the water needs for the southern part of the island for the next 20 years at least. So I would think about 2 years. Well, thank you very much, members of the press, and
Thank you.
we invite you to join us again tomorrow for the final of our 5 sets of pledges. So thank you very much.
You really think they don't see it? You think they don't know just how many people are in hardship? You think there isn't a minister or an MP who doesn't know of a fellow St. Lucian, someone's family, friends, or fellow citizen in a difficult situation? That's what compelled them to serve in the first place. There is no way to ignore people that you see and meet every day. These are our people. This is our island, our home. This Labour government has been with the people through thick and thin. And even knowing how bad the last UWP government left us, they accepted the challenge to restore our credibility in the world. They took us out of the jaws of the IMF, established NICE, created thousands of jobs, and are still creating more. So as the good work continues, together, day by day, a nation, a people, a family, progress. This Labour government believes in St. Lucia.